What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another episode of the 5 Takeaways, where we're going to take a look at that 4-3 defeat up at Anfield and see what 5 things we can take away from the game. First up, we're going to be looking at the improving Perisic.
Yeah, and Perisic had another decent display following on from some good form he's shown lately. And in the game at Anfield, in terms of the stats, he had 2 key passes, 4 tackles, 2 interceptions. He completed 2 of his 3 dribbles successfully as well. And he obviously got that assist for Harry Kane's goal. So an overall good display from Ivan Perisic. Last 7 games, he's got 3 assists and a goal as well. So 4 goal contributions in his last 7 games. And overall this season, 13 assists and a goal as well. So 14 goal contributions. And all of a sudden, his season isn't looking so bad.
Yeah, I think he stepped it up of late. Definitely. I think he's definitely impacting games. And it's not only those goal contributions as well. He's putting good crosses in the box that come to nothing sometimes. And also he's getting in good positions where he should be doing maybe a lot better in front of goal. So I think Perisic is definitely impacting things in a positive way at the moment. Is he doing enough maybe to stay here next season? Maybe as a backup if we are going to stick with this system. But he's kind of a player that we can only use in this system, though, isn't he?
Essentially, yeah. You can't be a left back in the back 4. He could be a left winger, but you don't want him starting on the left wing, usually from that position, especially at his age. So I do think he's most effective in this position where he has the space to cross the ball in and when the fullback is occupied by other players. Defensively, he's been a bit better as well last few weeks, but we all know he's a bit of a liability in that role, essentially. So it'll be interesting to see what the new manager wants to do with him, if they do want to get rid or not. But if I've said at the beginning of the season he'd be on for 14 goal contributions, that's pretty much what he's here for.
Yeah, but to have Perisic in the team, we just need to have a much better defence because his defensive flaws are there for everyone to see. Let's move on to number 2, though, and we're going to be talking about late starters.
Yeah, so Spurs conceded another 3 goals in the opening 15 minutes yesterday, and Spurs have now conceded the most goals in the Premier League in the opening 15 minutes of games, second to none, 7 of them being coming in the last week, but we've now conceded 13 goals this season in the opening 15 minutes of games, and you're always going to leave yourself chasing the game if you're putting yourself in that position with regularity.
Yeah, and it's so hard to take because we do have it in us, as you saw at Anfield, as you saw against Manchester United, coming on really strong in the second half of both of those games. But ultimately, we leave ourselves with way too much work to do. 3-0 down at Anfield, 2-0 down against Manchester United, 5-0 down against Newcastle. I mean, that was just absolutely shocking. But those last 2, I mean, we had enough quality to go on and win those games. It's just we left ourselves with way too much to do, and that's the bit that's hard to take.
Yeah, and it's always going to be difficult trying to get back in these games when you keep giving the opposition a head start. It's very difficult, and it's something that we've been struggling with for a lot of this season, to be honest. It was the opposite problem we had under Jose, where we were getting the lead and then couldn't hold on to it. But this season, it's just been the season of giving up leads early on.
Yeah, and what do you put that down to? I mean, why can't the players come out with the same mentality as maybe they come out in the second half for?
I don't know. It's a great question. Maybe it's to do more with the opposition. I don't know. Maybe it's to do with the opposition. When they put us under pressure, we crumble, and then all of a sudden their mentality changes and allows us back in the game. Or I don't know what it is. It's something that we haven't been able to figure out. It's been a season-long problem that hasn't been solved. And the new man, maybe it's to do with us being on the front foot, and we're not on the front foot enough, and we're inviting too much pressure on us. I don't know. But the new manager has to solve that.
Absolutely. Let's go on to number 3, and we're going to be talking about Sonny's form.
Yeah, and we had a really good game at Anfield. Had obviously hit the post twice, had a shot cleared off the line, had a really good assist for Richarlison's equaliser in the 96th minute, in the 93rd minute, and scored a really nice goal with a really lovely finish past Alisson to make it 3-2. And in terms of his form does seem to be returning, especially in the last few games. That's now 4 goals and 1 assist in his last 5 games, 6 goals and 2 assists in his last 10. And overall this season, it's not looking so bad. 19 goal contributions in all competitions and 10 Premier League goals as well. So now into double figures. If he can have a strong end to the season, all of a sudden his terrible season won't look as bad.
Yeah, and that's absolutely spot on. And it's not only that, but he's had a lot of criticism over the season with him and the way he plays when Perisic is on the pitch. And they seem to be getting a better understanding of each other now as well. And both seem to be putting in good performances when they're both on the pitch. So I mean, I always thought Sonny would turn it around this season, and he seems to have done that. It's just a shame it's a bit little too late, isn't it?
But if he can get, well, we've only got 4 games to go. Maybe if he can get to 14 goals, that'd be a fairly respectable return.
It would be respectable, but I mean, there's nothing too much to read into it, because when the team is playing so badly and not achieving any of the targets set out for us this season, it's hard to just focus on individual awards, because it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but maybe it takes away the narrative of Sonny is slowing down or things like that.
Well,
maybe.
Don't think so, because it's still that much worse than last season.
It is, but we've seen other players have, like, if this is him in his bad season, maybe it shows that, like, because Son hasn't always been like up. He's had like dips. I remember his second season at Tottenham, he got like 14 Premier League goals, and the following season he didn't get as many. So does that mean he was slowing down then? No, I don't necessarily think so.
Well, I guess next season will be the telling factor, won't it? So we'll see what happens next season. But look, I think that even if he is declining, he's still a great guy to have around because of the attributes that he does have. And when you're looking at his performance at Anfield, probably the best of the lot this season. So it didn't look like for anyone that he was slowing down. His header has pace, hanging on the last shoulder, creating chances, grabbing chances. Just could have done a little bit better with his finishing. So I thought it was a really good display. Moving on to number 4, and that is the Mason effect.
Yeah, and again, Tottenham were creating chances yesterday throughout, especially in the second half, and even the end of the first half. Spurs were being creative and opening up Liverpool. And for the second consecutive game, Spurs recorded 2+ expected goals, which is actually the first time this season we've done it in consecutive games, 2+, especially non-penalty expected goals as well, so we take penalties out of it, which maybe goes to show how our chance creation has definitely improved since Mason's taken charge, considering that's the first time it's happened this season. And we definitely look better when we're on the ball, which is something that we've complained about a lot this season, how when we do have possession, sometimes we look a bit lost, and unless we're on a counter-attack. So I definitely think that's improved, and Mason is definitely having a bit of effect in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not obviously all perfect because of the way we're defending still. The defenders are always going to bring that, but you know, to go 3-0 down early on at Anfield ain't great. To go 2-0 down as well to Manchester United in the first half, not good enough. But what I would say is that a lot of Spurs fans were talking about Conte, Mourinho, all that kind of football, saying, I just don't care anymore. I just want to enjoy my team play. And that's what we're getting at the moment. We're seeing good performances in the second half to drag us back in games, and you can't say it's not exciting, and you can't say it's not enjoyable to watch. So I think that Mason's doing a good job at the moment, but I'd like to see in these last 4 games of the season against winnable games to go and get those wins. But let's move on to the last takeaway, and that is the 5th and final takeaway, and that is top 6 out of our hands.
Yeah, and also after losing 4-3 to Liverpool, that last minute winner by Jota has actually got big ramifications when it comes to the top 6 race. Obviously, top 4 is now beyond us. We know that. Liverpool now 2 points ahead of Tottenham with a game in hand, which is actually midweek at home to Fulham, which you envisage will be probably 3 points for Liverpool. So that is going to be difficult to overhaul Liverpool at this point. They do have Villa to play, but Spurs remain now, they remain level on points with Villa after their defeat away to Man United at the 2 o'clock kickoff. But Brighton now 2 points behind Spurs with 3 games in hand, which now makes top 6 out of our hands following this weekend's results. And it's going to take a big fight and some really big wins from now to the end of the season if we're going to snatch that top 6 spot. And the most likely scenario at the moment is it looks like we're going to be battling Aston Villa for the last Conference League spot, which is probably a battle that Spurs hope to lose, or a lot of fans probably hope that we don't win. But top 6 now it's a very tall order at this point.
Yeah, and it's hard to take when we've been battling it out for top 4 all season, been in the top 4 for a lot of this season as well, and now it's looking like Europa League could be out of our reach. And to be in the Conference League once again, we've basically gone back 2 years, haven't we? And it is hard to take, but for me, I personally hope that we either get Europa League or come out of Europe completely. And I'm kind of siding with just coming out of Europe completely, out of the whole thing, to be honest. But I'm kind of conflicted because I also want to see my team have a strong finish to the season. So I guess we'll know our fate in 4 games' time, but it's not looking good at the moment.
How crazy is it that when casting your mind back to that Southampton game, if Sarr doesn't give away that penalty in the 90th minute, we go 3rd?
Yeah.
We go third in the Premier League, and now we're sitting here staring no Europa League in the face, essentially.
Yeah, and Daniel Levy, you know, he always makes those calls, doesn't he, when he thinks that top four is becoming out of our reach. And I feel like if he would have brought in Mason instead of bringing in Stellini for those couple of games, it would have given us a much better chance than what we have done now.
I agree.
So he's only got himself to blame once again. But that is the 5 takeaways. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on our takeaways. If we have missed anything out, put your takeaways in the comment section below. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on,